I'm Chris Hansen here from New York City on my YouTube channel and show, Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. As you know, if you've been following us, and many of you have, and I appreciate that, we are intensifying our investigation into the YouTube streamer Onision, otherwise known as Greg Jackson, and his wife Kai, who have allegedly engaged in a series and a pattern of very disturbing grooming and sexual impropriety with young women around the country. The allegations are honestly quite shocking. They have used their YouTube channel to sort of recruit a number of young women into what can only be described as a cult-like environment, sometimes trying to force the girls into signing contracts, shaving their heads, keeping them away from their families, and at least coercing them into questionable sexual relationships. We've had some of the alleged victims on in the past few weeks, and tonight we continue on this program, which is sponsored by StreamYard, our sponsor, which allows us to broadcast this show on this venue and many others. If you're interested, go to StreamYard.com and you can learn how to broadcast your work on multiple platforms at the same time. Tonight's guest is a young woman who I spoke with for the first time yesterday, but has been on our radar for a long time. Billie, who knows firsthand what it's like to get wrapped up in this whole world of Onision and Kai, the very disturbing and dark world of Onision and Kai. Billie, thank you so much for joining us live tonight on Have a Seat with Chris Hansen.
Of course.
So take me back in time a little bit, Billie. How did Onision first come onto your awareness? How did you first realize that Onision was even a presence on YouTube?
I had seen one of his Scene Kid videos pop up.
Scene Kid videos.
Yeah, like just rating their hair or style. Back when there was a lot of Scene Kid YouTubers, so it just popped up in my recommended.
So you were surfing YouTube basically, and you just saw this and interested you. How old were you at the time, Billie?
I was 15.
15. And what were these videos, these Scene Kid videos? What was Onision doing on these videos that was so of interest to you?
Well, I was really interested in the whole big hair piercings type Scene Kid stuff back then. It was a really big trend. So he would just kind of show photos of other Scene Kids, kind of rating their hair or their style and just kind of all that. So it was kind of one of those things to just get inspiration for whatever look, I guess.
Did you consider Onision, Greg Jackson, to be somewhat of a celebrity on YouTube?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And what else did Onision do on YouTube that got your attention?
I had seen some body hair videos, some kind of eating disorder videos, and just out of interest, clicking them, just they look interesting. So I guess just those types of videos too.
And Kai, Onision, Greg Jackson's wife, was in on this scene too, correct?
Sorry?
Kai, who is Greg Jackson, Onision's wife, was in on this scene too. You got to know her. How did that happen?
Oh, yes. I got to know Kai in 2015, whenever they first messaged me. But the first time I was aware of them was whenever they had sent me a public message on Twitter, just telling me that I was cute. And that was kind of the first time I found out who they were.
So they reached out to you because you were a fan, basically, right?
See, I wasn't very public about anything like that. I never mentioned them or anything. I think she kind of just, or I think I think that he kind of just found me on Twitter or maybe Instagram and just decided to message me. So I don't think there was any relation.
Let me just clarify here for everybody watching. I think most people are up to speed here, but Kai, when you first met Kai, identified as a woman, now identifies as a man, correct?
Yeah.
So that's where the pronoun confusion sometimes comes in the storytelling of this. So Kai reached out to you, is that correct?
Yes.
And what did Kai say?
The first message was just asking if I was interested in girls. And I said yes. So it kind of
Interested in girls in what way?
like interested in dating girls.
Dating girls.
Mhm.
And what made her reach out to you? Was there any other connection there besides you being a fan and a viewer of this content?
I don't think so. I think maybe he might have just stumbled upon my Twitter, saw like a picture of me or something, and decided to like message me. I think that's like the only thing.
And
Because I
you
didn't
were
really do YouTube or anything back then either.
right, and you responded to Kai?
Oh yeah.
And what was the conversation like from there?
Like after the whole kind of talking about if I was interested in girls, it kind of just started into like a I don't know, like a potential relationship type thing, where it was like, oh, my husband, or I have a husband, he wouldn't be involved in our relationship, if we have one, and kind of just talk about that and flirting for the most part.
And how old were you at this point?
I was 18.
You were 18.
Mm.
And were you okay with this? Was this something you were curious about? Was it something that Kai first introduced to you, or explain that part of it to me?
It was definitely like new to me. I like knew what like a three-way relationship was, but I'd never like been in one or really anything like that. Sorry, like before. It the three-way relationship wasn't introduced until like we had met for the second time. It was just originally supposed to be me and Kai.
And how old were you when Kai first reached out to you?
Oh, I was 18.
You were 18. Okay. So was she aware of this? Kai at the time, were they kind of keeping track of your age from the time you first started viewing their content, or how did that
Um,
work?
I'm honestly not sure. I just know that I mean I have like my birthday public on everything, so it says like 97 on there. So I think maybe she just kind of like already, or he just kind of already knew that I was 18. I'm not sure about prior if they knew who I was before then. I'd only spoke to them when I was 18 though.
Did Kai ask you to send pictures?
No.
How did it finally get to the point where you went to Washington State to visit Kai and Onision?
We were talking for about like 2 weeks, and Kai had offered to like fly me up to like hang out and kind of see if like things would work out and just kind of get to know each other better. So yeah, like just 2 weeks into like knowing each other, I already like was flying up there.
What made you decide to go?
I mean, I was definitely like interested. Like I thought that I thought that Kai was really cool, and it was just
Kai
like
also goes by Lainey, just to clarify for everybody watching tonight, right?
yeah.
Kai and Lainey are the same people. Okay. So you thought it'd be interesting to go check this out, to see it. You fly out there. Did they pay for your flight?
Mhm.
And what was the scene like when you got there?
Well, Kai picked me up from the airport, and we just kind of like started driving and went to Panera, just first to like talk and get to know each other a little more before going back to the house and me like meeting everybody. So it was like really nice. Like it was just like chit chat, getting to meet each other, kind of nervous type thing.
Were you worried at all that you were leaving the comfort of your home and the family you were living with and heading out to Washington State, all
Oh
the way
yeah,
across the country?
I'm like in an entirely different area. It was definitely like a very nervous thing because I had never flown before. It was my first time ever flying. So like that was like also my other fear because I was like, I've never been on a plane. I don't know what it's like. So yeah, it was pretty nerve wracking, but I told my family I was flying up, so they knew where I was, and I gave my mom the address and everything.
What did you tell your mom about where you were going and why?
I essentially just told her I was going to meet like a friend that I met on the internet, and she was kind of like fine with that only because I had traveled like the East Coast before, like going on tours and stuff. So she was used to me going to different states. Clearly not that far, but yeah, she was fine with it.
Did she have any idea? Did you have any idea what you were getting yourself into?
No, not at all.
Were you prepared for that?
No,
Was it what you were promised or what you bargained for?
no.
You get to the house. Describe what you saw.
It was like, I don't know, kind of like pretty cleaned up. Like I'm sure, the first impressions, they wanted to keep everything, but the dogs were in like a baby gate. I don't know why. They were just kind of like in a corner. It was kind of weird. Um, I mean, it was kind of just like awkward generally being in somebody's house for the first time, but I don't think it was like overall too bad. Um,
When did you first meet Greg Onision?
like a few minutes after getting to the house.
And what was that interaction like? What did he say to you? What did you say to him?
It was really awkward. I came in and I still had my shoes on, and the first thing he said to me was, "Take your shoes off." And I didn't hear what he said. I was like, "Sorry, what?" And he was like, "Your shoes." I was like, I'm so sorry." Like I already felt really awkward like walking in, and then like it wasn't even a hello, it was just your shoes, please.
So you're there basically to be with Kai and maybe not have a relationship with her, now him. Greg is living there as Kai's husband. They have children at this point, right?
Yeah, they had one at this point.
At this point. And this starts off how? Do you have a relationship with Kai? Does that happen right away? Is there some sort of, grooming or conversation, or take me through this?
So it was like the first day, Greg was already trying to get me and Kai to like kiss, even though like we, didn't know each other that much yet. And we both, I mean, it was Kai's first time like kissing a girl. So like he was really nervous. And I mean, I was just nervous because I didn't really know them that well either. So it was definitely very pressured into like us kissing.
And what year was this?
2015.
2015. So 2015, you're 18, you've flown for the first time across the country, and now you're in a house in Washington State with Kai and Onision.
Yeah.
And Onision, Greg, is suggesting that you have a physical relationship with Kai.
Mhm.
And he's watching this?
Yeah. Like our first kiss, he was like trying to be like right there. So it was kind of weird too.
Did that creep you out at all?
Yeah, like literally, I'm almost positive like our second kiss he took a photo of and posted it on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Like, yeah.
Do you think, looking back, that they flew you out there just to exploit you?
There definitely have been times where I feel like they've, started some type of drama just to get something out of it.
Post it, stream it, take advantage of it, profit from it.
For sure.
How did the relationship progress with Kai after that?
We, spent like that week together, and it seemed like pretty okay, like other than like the whole pressured to like kiss and everything. Like we had like a good time. We just went out to eat and got to know each other like a little more. And yeah, it was like, pretty okay for like the first trip.
Didn't you think that it was weird that you're out there to hang out, potentially have a romantic relationship with a then woman who's married to a guy? They have a child and they live all together with you in a house.
Yeah, it was definitely like an interesting like thing. I don't know, it definitely like sounds weird, but I don't know, like I was just interested in like going and being with Kai, and then it like, I don't know, just kind of turned into like the whole three-way thing. And I really don't know how to explain it, honestly. It just kind of like happened, and it's not really like much of something that was discussed.
It just naturally evolved, or was it forced, or someplace in between?
I guess it like, like a little in between. Like it was kind of, I want to say like pushed a little bit because it really wasn't talked about before. And then our like second trip up, he was like, oh, I thought this was going to be like a three like way type relationship. And, you know, it was just like one of those things where I was like, oh, like I didn't know that's what I was like signing up for. But he was like, isn't that like what this is? And we were just kind of like, I guess, like maybe, like, so it kind of just like slowly transitioned into that. And there were like less rules in the beginning, and it became like more like it used to be like, oh, I was dating Kai, but I could also like talk to guys if I felt like it, since she had a husband. And then it quickly escalated into, I'm just dating like Lainey and Greg, or Kai and Greg. Sorry.
How long until you actually slept with, became intimate with Kai?
I can't remember an exact date, but I do want to say it was in 2016, like later that year, because we didn't talk for like a good maybe 4 months of 2016. So yeah, around like then.
So how long was that first visit when you went out there?
It was just like 2 visits, one in November and then one in December.
Why did you come back? And were you afraid to come back after you left the first time?
I was definitely nervous, but like Kai seemed very so much like they missed me and they really wanted me to like come back. And, you know, I like missed him too. So it just seemed like things could possibly get better if I went back, and it could be different.
What did you see in Kai? What was the attraction?
I don't know how to explain it other than just like a type of girl that you're like interested in, because there's like, I don't know, like the alternative style, the like short hair type look. Yeah, sorry, I don't know how to explain it other than like.
So it appealed to you in a way.
Yeah, I was like, oh, like cute style. We had like common interests. We'd like, you know, goof around, have like dumb conversations.
When you came back, what happened the next visit?
So sorry, I'm trying to like gather, because I'm not exactly sure if this is like not the last visit, but the first time we broke up. And I want to say like December, early January is whenever Greg like gave me like a full body massage, and Lainey wasn't okay with it, and Kai wasn't okay with it, and didn't like know about it, and didn't like consent to it happening. This is back when everything was fresh and there weren't like set rules on like the whole 3-person relationship. So like he found that like super like, you know, not okay. And it started like a whole thing of them like potentially like getting a divorce at that time, and talking about like Kai leaving and everything. Sorry, it just became like a really big mess at that point.
It sounds like they're almost trying to drag you into a reality show of some sort. Am I wrong there?
I mean, Greg definitely would post a video every time after something like this would happen. So I definitely think like a little bit was like exploited.
How long until you became intimate with both Kai and Greg? How did that?
Oh, the first time I wasn't intimate with Kai first. The first time it was both of them, like already. So it was like.
Were you coaxed into this? Were you comfortable with it? Was it a little bit in the middle?
It kind of is just, again, one of those things where it kind of just happened. Like we were just hanging out and they like started making out and everything. And Greg like would tell me what to do to like Kai, instead of like kind of letting us do our own thing. He would just like be like, oh, do this, touch her here, kind of thing. So it wasn't a comfortable first time at all. We weren't like ready for it. It was definitely too early. Like again, just yeah, just the first time like being intimate with like a girl too
And
is
so all this was hitting you at the same time. It had to be, and don't let me put words in your mouth here. And you're certainly in the no judgment zone. We're just trying to get an understanding of what was going on in this world. But it had to be a bit confusing, a bit overwhelming. It sounds like you were a bit vulnerable, young, certainly inexperienced in this area. Did you feel exploited
uh yeah, yeah, for sure.
looking back now?
Hmm.
And how did this physical relationship evolve? What happened as time went on?
It I mean, it would turn into like, an everyday type thing. Like whenever we would all like be together, we would just like, you know, do like whatever, like different sexual things. Like if it wasn't always just like, sorry, I'm trying to like be kind of vague because I don't really like.
No, I understand, and I want to be sensitive to you too. I mean, you look back now with years of perspective, and it's got to be a little painful, weird, and bizarre. I would imagine.
Kind of uneasy feeling because it's like, I don't know, just like thinking back on it, like the whole thing was just kind of uncomfortable, like for very clearly for me and Kai both just not being ready for the situations that we were like in.
Did Greg force you into any sexual activity?
No, I wouldn't say like forced. Definitely like pressured or kind of like would talk you into something, but not like you have to do this.
Did he ever break the law with you in any way? Do you think?
Um, Not that I know of. I think he tried his best to, you know,
Walk that fine line.
yeah.
So Sarah, who was on our show a few weeks ago, who really had a harrowing story to tell, and started contact with Greg Onision and Kai at a very early age. And there is some indication that perhaps laws were broken there because there was enticement of photographs back and forth prior to her being 18. She did travel out there. There was a relationship there as well. As you were there during some of the times when Sarah was there as well.
Yeah.
How did that work out?
Honestly, a lot of the time it was like Sarah was like, I would say like babysitting and like cleaning up the house. But if it was both of us, that's like what we were doing, like babysitting, cleaning up, helping like cook food, just helping with like whatever general grocery shopping kind of thing. So
Did
that
you get paid for this?
no, they paid me for I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to explain it, but just like at sorry,
You did some internet work. You did some work on the internet for them.
yeah. There's like a certain name for it, but I can't think of the name.
You were a moderator. Is that fair to say?
Yes, a moderator.
Right. I'm
Thank
picking
you.
up on this lingo myself here. So they paid you for being a moderator. So what was the relationship between you and Sarah?
Um, I'd say like, we were just like good friends whenever we were there. We would like watch anime together, just like talk about whatever at home life things we were doing or like, sharing like whatever stories we had from at home. It was just nice. We had like, we were like friends.
And when you were there, what was Sarah's relationship with Kai and Greg with Onision?
I definitely like felt very much so like like Sarah was there to like help clean up, or at least that's kind of like what they like tend to get her to do. A lot of babysitting, a lot of like just helping around the house and everything like that. Um, Yeah, I'd say like that's like a big part of it. Like we would help with the kids a lot.
And did she get into a physical relationship with either Greg or Kai when you were there, or did that happen after?
No, that happened after. Like sorry, I'm not sure like the exact timeline.
Right, that happened after you had left. What made you finally leave for the last time, and when was that?
It was in 2016. I want to say like around like October, November ish. There was like this. We've had like a lot of breakups, so this was like one of the bigger ones where there. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to like word it properly.
Right.
Where Kai. So it's a really like long story.
But there was was it a disagreement between you and Kai and Greg? All three of you? Did they want you to do something you were uncomfortable with? Were you just done with the whole scene?
Yeah, it was essentially just a miscommunication or a lack of communication between them, and it put me in the middle of it all. Essentially, Greg told Kai that he was going to do like whatever he wanted in this three-way relationship, and if that's like to want to have sex with me outside of us being together, then like he was going to do that. And Kai agreed to it, I guess, to him. But then later on told me that like Kai wasn't okay with that, and that's not something that they like want to have happen. So like later I went downstairs to like talk to Greg, and it was like almost kind of immediate. Like he was already trying to like get me over to the bed to like have sex with me.
Right.
And I tried to bring up like the whole, I don't think Kai would, really be okay with this. And he was like, oh, why? Like we talked about it. And I was like, I just don't think, it would be okay. And he was like, oh yeah, no, it'll be fine. Like we had a conversation. So we did end up like, being intimate. And right after I ran upstairs to tell my best friend, because she was visiting with us too.
Right.
And I like cried to her about the whole situation. And I guess right after Greg went up to Kai too to tell Kai about everything that happened. And it became like this whole big mess of like all of us kind of like separating and going into different rooms, and Greg like walking around trying to like talk to all of us and figure out what is kind of going on. He ended up like making us sign a contract to stay like a week longer to try to figure everything out.
Wait. He made you sign it. So he coaxes you into having sex with him outside of the agreed upon relationship. You feel horrible about it. It all turns out to be a big mess. You tell your friend who's visiting about it. You're in tears. And he's running around trying to get you guys to sign a contract?
Yeah, he tried.
Why does he try to get you to sign a contract?
To stay longer, to try to figure out if we could like work things out all together.
A contract?
Mm-hmm.
Who does this guy think he is, running around this house, running it like a harem?
I'm sure he has a folder. Like I have signed countless contracts. Like this isn't even the first one. Like there have been so many where it's
How
just
many contracts did Greg Onision have you sign?
I want to say possibly 4 or 5.
4 or 5. And did these have any legal standing whatsoever? I know you're not a lawyer, but I mean,
I didn't know at the time.
What's the purpose of this?
Yeah, but now I realize they have to be notarized to be real, and it's just something he would type up on the computer and put like a little sign here thing on and like call it legal.
And what were these contracts for? To stay?
Yeah, they would be like, oh, like you'll do this in order to stay, or in order for us to forgive you.
Forgive you?
Yeah.
Why would you have to be forgiven after all this? They should be apologizing to you. Am I not correct?
Even like to this day, like it's just like I mean, I haven't spoken to them in forever, but I still get emails, and it like differs from like, oh, I'm sorry, to like this is all your fault, to like
all your fault.
Yeah, like whenever that whole situation happened, it flipped on me somehow. And Kai blamed me entirely for the whole thing that happened, and then Greg blamed me for the whole thing that happened. So it like the whole thing just became my fault. So
when you and Sarah were both there, was this a situation where you and Sarah were doing work around the house, babysitting, grocery shopping, cleaning as domestic help or as girlfriends in this relationship?
I honestly, like, to be fair, Greg doesn't do like anything around the house, so I don't know if it's just one of those things where like Kai definitely felt entitled to us helping for sure. Like if we didn't help, then there'd be like some fit or some like ignoring bland text messages that we'd get. Sorry, could I get the question again?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is, did they treat you like you were, indentured servants, or was this like you were in a relationship with Kai and Greg and you helped out just as if, your boyfriend and girlfriend?
I want to say like a bit of like it definitely felt like sometimes we were like made to like not made but pushed to kind of do these things. Just because one time I remember me and Sarah went out to the mall with Kai, and Kai was getting a haircut, but like had both the kids with him, so it was like difficult. But the kids don't like to be separated from
Right.
their mom, so we couldn't do anything to like help. Like we couldn't take them with us to go shopping, and we couldn't like sit there because we were supposed to be buying presents for Kai and Greg and like everybody. It's yeah, sorry, this was like around like closer to Christmas, I guess, like still October or November-ish. But
It sounds like they treated you like the help, and the help was expected to service them sexually. Is that fair?
yeah, like I feel like the dynamic's just really weird.
Like, do all the work around the house, take care of the kids, cook, clean, and oh, by the way, we're ready to have sex now, so come on upstairs and do that because
Like,
this is where you're living now.
I definitely don't want to discredit Kai because they definitely like would clean up around the house and stuff too. But I just feel like whenever we were there, we were like more so like expected to help around the house, other than it being like a nice gesture to help them.
Did you ever think that they broke the law with Sarah?
Yeah,
in sure. What way?
I mean, just from like some of like I just think of like this one very specific thing where I like walked upstairs and like Kai was just completely naked in the tub, and Sarah was just like sitting on this like high chair, like pretty close, clearly like underage, with someone that they had a crush on. And it just like seemed already normal at that point, like it'd been happening for a minute, and it just like, I don't know, clearly isn't okay and didn't like sit right with me either. So I told Greg about it, and he kind of made a big deal about it and was like, okay, so they're not going to do that anymore. And I was like, okay, cool. But then he started being like kind of mean to her all the time too. So I don't know if that was just to show me that he, I don't know, didn't like her or something. But
did Greg manipulate and try to control you?
Yeah, for sure.
Did he blackmail you?
Sorry, I'm not entirely sure what blackmail is.
Did he threaten to hold something over your head if you didn't do what he wanted you to do?
No.
Threaten to tell your parents anything, put anything out on the internet, show embarrassing pictures to people who wouldn't understand what was going on if you didn't do what he asked?
He didn't ever threaten to. He just kind of did it. Like it was never like a threat. It was just like, oh, here's this embarrassing video of information about you, or here's this, just.
And he put that out there, those videos.
Oh yeah. There's like a lot of videos of like just my information or information about our relationship.
I want you to know here that, no one's judging here. I know you're a little anxious to talk about this, and we're really just trying to get inside this world, which has caused, allegedly, and certainly from the interviews we've done, a lot of damage to a lot of young women. And you're very brave to come forward and talk about it. None of this is your fault. You went out there for one thing, and it sounds like he just got in over your head. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
We've heard stories about him shaving girls' heads. Did he ever do that to you?
No, but he wanted to.
He wanted to. And what's the purpose of this?
I mean, he told me it was to be able to be forgiven, to like prove that I like love them, and I'm not sure. I'm sure it was to, make me like embarrassed or make me like not like myself as much, because I do care a lot about my hair, and he very clearly knew that. Like, I want to be a cosmetologist, so it was just one of those like, just like a jab at you, shave your head.
What's the worst thing he posted about you online?
I'm not really like entirely big on like talking about it.
Right.
Only
And if you're uncomfortable, don't go there. I don't want you to have a bad experience, but I do want people to know what he's capable of doing. So as far as you're comfortable characterizing what he did, it sounds like he gained your confidence, got some deep personal information about you, and exploited it. Is that fair to say?
yeah.
In a very hurtful way.
Yeah, on like several occasions. He
Things
like
that you told him in confidence because you trusted him and you wanted a relationship of some sort with Kai. Is that fair?
yes.
And he exploited that and blasted that all over the internet.
Hella.
Yeah. And some of the most personal information one could imagine. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
What was it, Billie, that finally made you say, I'm out of here. I can't do this anymore. I'm done.
So it had like gradually kind of like gotten to that point, like over probably like 2-3 months, whenever they like started, being more like that. Like, I felt like there were like more problems, more like things that he would that Greg would do to try to cause more drama.
Like what? Just give me an example of something.
There'd be times where he would like tell me that Kai was upset with me, and would like tell Kai that I was upset with him. So then we wouldn't talk, and we'd get into this like really awkward like thing where we're like avoiding each other. And then he would like try to talk to us separately, and sometimes it would be like about things that we didn't even like say, or things that were worded differently. He would like reword them to make it like seem worse.
He was trying to create drama, tension, and take advantage of the whole situation.
Mm-hmm. And me and Kai had caught on to it at one point, because he was like, oh, like, yeah, you or Kai is like feeling weird about this, or like I can't remember like what the exact situation was, but it got to the point where we were both in the car, and I was like, so like, why are you like mad at me? And she was like, or he's like, I'm not mad at you. Like, Greg told me that you were like, mad at me. And it just became this like, oh, so we're both not mad at each other, and there was literally no problem.
Are you afraid of Greg as we sit here tonight and talk?
Yeah, I've been seeing some of these like messages pop up, and I don't know like what exactly is like happening, but
what do you fear most about Greg and what he's doing?
I just feel like he's not really much like predictable. So it just like, I don't know, like I just don't know what he could say, or I know I'm really far away, so it's not like he could like do anything to me other than like be really nasty on the internet.
Has he threatened you at all?
No.
And do you speak with either Kai or Greg at all now? What's the last thing you said to them?
I'm pretty sure I sent like in all caps F you and then blocked their number and like never spoke to them again. But I still get emails. It's been like 3 years and I have like over 20 emails from Greg. Like,
saying what? What are they trying to get you back out there?
oh yeah, it's like
They want you back out there.
Yeah, for sure. Like
oh, we're just kidding. This is fine now. Please come out and have a relationship with us.
Yeah, like it'll be like, oh, so I have like a list of them. It goes back and forth from like, we want to see if things work out, and then I didn't respond, so I got another one like, Kai doesn't think things will work out, so we're not going to try to pursue this. But like, I clearly was never trying to pursue them ever again. So that's why it was just weird that they were like, never mind, Kai doesn't, want to do this anymore. Because I was like, I clearly don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't. So yeah, I just have a lot of emails I don't know, just I have dreams about you, or I've had dreams about you. Kai's had dreams about you. And I'm like, cool. Like, I'm not.
So you're not even responding to them at this point?
Oh, no. Like, I haven't responded in like over like however long it's been, 2-3 years.
Now, there's no wrong answer to this, and I'll drop it if you don't want to pursue it, I promise. But it seems to me that you're a little anxious about some aspects of this. And if it's a matter of private stuff, I get it, and I'm not going to drag you through it. But are there things you're afraid to talk about because you're afraid of Greg?
No, I don't think so. I'm honestly just pretty nervous because I haven't really talked about any of this in like a good
and
while.
I appreciate you doing it. And I honestly, and I'll be quiet and let you talk here in a second, but it does a lot of good for a lot of people to hear you say this.
No, I definitely, I saw everybody else like coming up to talk, and it really helped me want to like come up and be able to talk about everything too, because they're really brave, and I just, wanted to be able to help out also.
Was there a part of you that didn't want to come on this show tonight, that didn't want to talk about this, that didn't want to bare your soul in this painful way?
No, I definitely think that it's the right thing to do, and I'm not going to like regret ever talking about it, because it needed to be done. It's definitely something that needed to be addressed finally.
Did they damage you?
I definitely have like some trust issues now, and everything. So I'm not like the best when it comes to trusting people in relationships and seeing their true intentions and everything.
What did they take away from you?
Oh boy. I don't really know to explain it. A lot of confidence. I was pretty anxious and uncomfortable for like a while about posting on the internet. I mainly just felt like I was going to get like a bunch of hate for anything and everything I did because of how much he like got everybody to, harass me before. So I was just afraid of it kind of happening again because of how intense it was.
When you say got everybody to harass you, he goes out, makes a video, posts it either on YouTube or other social media platforms, and basically wages war on you, trying to damage your character, make this all out to be your fault. What a horrible person you are, saying things about your private personal history. That's very exploitive.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, there's just like a lot.
It's hard to have people go after you in such a public way.
Yeah, the first time was definitely like a lot. Like I had probably thousands of messages just like on like my Instagram telling me like a lot of awful things. I got like so many homewrecker messages. I still like get those occasionally.
You're the homewrecker in this deal?
Yeah. I got called a homewrecker for like a long time because of the first time when Greg had given me the full body massage. It became like just like a thing to call.
Who are these people that say this stuff to you?
Well, it was a lot of it's just how Greg worded everything. It made like a lot of them think that everything was my fault, and it definitely, I feel like, has gotten like a lot better now. But it was mainly just, you know, like his followers and everyone who watched his videos would come and like message me. And yeah.
Is this a cult?
I'm not sure, but I definitely think there's cult-like things that he's done or has
Head shaving, contracts, intimidation, public attacks on the internet, character assassination.
Sorry, I'm not sure like what really like categorizes like a cult type characteristics other than like trying to like collect people and keep them in like a type of like close knit group type thing.
How many other Billies, Sarahs, Reginas, Shilohs are out there?
I have no idea. There's probably like a lot more. Just because I know that like Kai is one to like flirt with people. So I'm sure there's been like a lot of instances.
Is Kai just as bad as Onision, Greg?
Yeah, for sure.
And if Greg is listening right now, what do you say to him? What do you tell this character who goes by the name of Onision?
Definitely. I know it's like a trending thing, but please get help. None of this is okay. The situations you've put people in, the things you've done, like none of it. He needs help for sure.
Should a person like this have a forum on a platform like YouTube?
Oh, no, not at all. He definitely abuses all of his platforms when it comes to anything, honestly. I feel like from just day one, all of his stuff has been very like just not good. Very sorry, I don't know how to explain it other than just not helpful whatsoever for anyone. Just not good content.
And what do you say to Kai if Kai is listening tonight?
Boy.
A little harder there because you had feelings for Kai.
Yeah, my first reaction is to say get out, but obviously at this point, like he's done really bad things, so it's situationally like you did this to yourself. You knew better. It was definitely apparent that he was in on this. So you knew better.
What about those kids?
Yeah, I feel really bad for them. Like their at home life, I'm sure I haven't like seen either of them in a really long time, so I'm not like sure how it is now. But sorry, it's like hard like talking about them too because I did like really care about Troy also. Sorry, I don't know if like name dropping is okay.
You cared about the kids.
Yeah, I like cared a lot. Like I definitely had like, you know, a bond with their like son. Since I was like up there a lot, he knew who I was, and you know, it was
This is it's an environment that sounds like to me, and you know, we've interviewed obviously you and Shiloh and Sarah and Regina, and when you're in an environment where it starts with an honest attempt at a relationship, a friendship, perhaps something more, which is how this got started with you, and then all of a sudden there's rules about clothing, haircuts, contracts, chores, initiating sexual contact that wasn't part of the initial agreement, you know, not being able to contact parents or family members or friends. That to me sounds like a cult. Is that consistent with the way you were treated when you were at their house in Washington State?
Yeah, I definitely. I felt like he was trying to kind of collect, because a part of the agreement also was like, if I was to move up there, then my best friend could come too. So then I guess it would be like me, my best friend, Sarah, Kai, and Greg. So it
And
is.
you guys were not alone in this.
Sorry.
You weren't alone. There were other young women.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, sorry, I'm like a little confused.
No, that's fine. It's a lot to handle. Well, listen, you've been very brave to come on. We're going to stay on this story, continue to investigate, continue to talk to people. We're a long way from being finished here. He has, Onision Greg has, put videos out and said some just off the wall bizarre things, both on social media, to us in email. That started with a demand for $350,000 to do an interview, which is,
I literally saw that and like died laughing. I was like, "There's no way that actually happened."
no, it's not in a million years would we do that. And it appears that he's delusional in some ways. And my heart goes out to you and everybody else who had to go through all this nonsense. I mean, I look at this, not only as a journalist, a host, a talent, but as a parent too. And it breaks my heart, Billie. It really does, that you had to go through this. And so I thank you from a lot of different angles here. And I know that by coming out and talking about it, just like Sarah and Regina and Shiloh, it's going to encourage others, to do the same thing. So thank you for being so brave. Thank you for putting yourself out there. There's a, in all these things, there are 100 reasons not to do it. It's the easy way, but I'm just, as much as I can, monitoring the comments that come across during the show, and without exception, everybody is saying that you're extraordinarily brave, and again, I just appreciate the difficulty of doing this and being live and doing the right thing here. So thank you very much, Billie. I appreciate it. We'll be in touch. I hope you'll continue to speak out when appropriate and when you feel like it, and know that we're right here with you the whole way. I should let you and our audience know that I did have a conversation with the FBI yesterday. A little bit of breaking news here. And obviously there was evidence that some of the young women have that could very well be of interest to investigators. And contact is being made within the Bureau, between the different field offices involved here across the country, including Washington State, where a lot of this activity took place. But again, a reminder that even though Greg Jackson, Onision, Kai apparently were very careful about ages in terms of having young women visit, sexual relations, and everything else, what many people in these cases don't know, don't think about, aren't aware of, is that the transmission of sexually explicit pictures of people younger than 18 is a federal crime. It can either be enticement, it can be the transmission of child pornography. It is a penalty which carries a sentence of 10 years per image. If it's a video, it's 10 years per frame. So there is a very good chance that there's going to be a criminal investigation here. And we will keep everybody posted on this. So thank you again, Billie. I appreciate it. Everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support, your encouraging comments to Billie, to the others. Please know that I will stay on top of this. Thank you, Vincent Nicotra, as always, for moderating. All the other moderators out there tonight, thank you very much. I appreciate the comments, the support. We've really just begun to scratch the surface on this, and we'll keep
Chris,
going. Go ahead, Vincent.
Why don't we mention some of the YouTubers who are supporting the victims and supporting the
yes, that's a good idea. So a number of YouTube people have spoken out and supported the people who've been on our shows, Sarah, Shiloh, Regina, Billie tonight, and I appreciate all that too. So from New York City, we're signing off. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the TV along the way, and we'll be back here next Wednesday night on Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks.